Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Five years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, two teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
mine. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
There it is. See, I do have rhythm. How you doing? Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. There ain't no sleeping up in here. Wake that ass up. That's right. It is Thursday. One more. And we made it this far. How you doing today? I'm blessed, highly favored, feeling good today. Boy, so much going on this week. All good. How are you? How are things in your neck of the woods? Drop something inside the comment if you're watching from one of the platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. But if you're on Roku, Amazon Fire, and all those places where you can't, just wave. I can still see you. Just like the lady on Romper Room. You probably don't even know who that was, do you? How many of you, raise your hands, remember Romper Room, right? That's right. And when I was in college, the guy across the hall from me, that was her son. Yeah. So, and I used to see her all the time. I was like, how come you never said Lauren? Not once. I used to sit there all the time. I didn't know. I was very traumatized because my name was never one of those little license plates when you're on vacation. Remember, you go in the Stuckey's or the gas station, the turnstile. They have everybody's name. Never mind. And the Romper Room lady never said my name either. Oh, well. I said it enough for everybody. Listen, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren, and we're here today to have yet another illuminated conversation. Now, what you heard dinging in the sidebar over there, that's not a prop. It's not a gimmick. It is, in fact, a reminder. It's an opportunity. It's the bell of purpose. It's a real thing. And I ring it because, just like that bell, you guessed it, the truth, it has a ring to it. Don't ever not seek that ring. You hear me? All right, there we go. Listen, couple things real quick. Finished it. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Mark Craven was here 2 weeks ago. He sent me the book. Well, actually, I purchased it. But he sent it from his home and signed it for me, and I read it. Dads Kiss Your Sons. Beautiful, beautiful book. I highly recommend it to anyone that is a dad, that wants to be a dad, had a dad, pretends to be a dad, or plays a dad on Facebook. Get this. It's an awesome book. And also, this isn't new, but it's new to me. And I wanted to let you guys know, I read this book. Well, I listened to it through Audible first, and it was so awesome. It has helped me a lot in the last 30 days. I've implemented a lot of the things that I learned in here. And now I have the hard copy so that I can go and get all the great downloads and stuff that come with it when you buy the book. So anyway, Building a Brand Story by Donald Miller, who has several great books. So if you are an entrepreneur, solopreneur, or you just want to read something that is going to benefit you, I highly recommend this. So there you go, Brand Story. So who do we have here today? You know how I feel about networking, right? I've had a few networking gurus on the show over the years. This is the 8th year, 50 weeks a year, 5 days a week. That's a lot of people. So we've talked about it from time to time. And what I love are people who are in the networking space, but to them, they know what I know. It is not about clinking of cocktail glasses, where I have probably a box full of them here somewhere, or just simply, see, they're inside this little chest, passing out business cards. That's networking, but when you really know what you're doing, you work the net. You like what I did there? Networking, work the net. I'm a fisher of men. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to impact lives and touch hearts, right? And so I work the net. I want to put it out there and draw as many people in as I can. And that's what today's guest is going to talk to us about. Now, you know how I feel about people who come on the show that have 3 names like me. This guy has 3 names like me, and I'm just kidding. He really does. And he's here today. Daniel Andrews. I'm only using 2 of them. Wait a minute. Yeah, I said, well, where did I get this 3rd name? It's on a screen thing. Daniel Patrick Andrews. We'll see about that. I'm just kidding. He's here today, and we're going to talk about what he does. Now, he's not just started. He's been doing it over 13 years. He owns a business that shows people how to identify, find, meet, and nurture. I'm going to say that word one more time. Nurture. If you want it to grow, you have to nurture it. Professional relationships is what we're talking about, with key referral partners, passing it forward, paying it forward, getting outside of just Marsha, me. That's why it's not the power of me, it's the power of we. Okay? And he says that he shows business people how to stop networking. I didn't even know that was in there because I hadn't pre-read this. See, I knew I liked this guy. How to stop networking and start building true networks. Now, there's a lot more to it, but I'm like the kids. I'd rather show you than tell you. So I'm going to get him in here so we can get this party started. Listen, get on your feet. How do you do that when you're there and I'm here? Oh, put some hearts on the screen. It's our virtual way of saying welcome, because I hear him coming down the hallway. He's on the way. Daniel Patrick Andrews. We're going to talk about those three names. Bing. Where are you?
I'm here. Am I here now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Your internet was.
Yeah. Just as you were connecting me, my network was like, you have an unstable connection. I'm like, why right now? Yeah.
Because those are those things that don't serve us trying to get in there, but they really give us heads up that something great's about to happen, or they wouldn't be working.
Technology is great right up until it's not. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
Well, and I was over there chuckling. You know, I was in the green room while you were commenting on 2 names or 3 names. The reason I use 3 names in general is because Daniel Patrick Andrews, if you simply search for that name, you'll find a bombastic Australian parliamentarian, the former Premier of Victoria, who's widely hated in his own country. You can't find me through a search. So that's why I had to buy the URL, danielpatrickandrews.com. There are way too many Daniel Andrewses. There's one famous Daniel Patrick Andrews, but I had to buy the URL because you cannot search for me, but you can go to my address. My name in a search won't pull up me, but my name in a URL will pull up.
But it'll pull up 3,000 imposters.
Exactly.
You're the Daniel Andrews.
I am the original.
Well, we're glad you're here. And what I like to do, I'm trying to think of a name I can give you to Dan Pat Andrews is here. Daniel. Well, what do you want me to call you?
I go with Daniel. I'm fine.
Daniel, okay.
But,
Daniel, my brother.
There you go.
Right? How many times? I bet I'm the first person to ever sing that song to you, right?
I sing it to myself. It's a great song.
I know one of my faves. Look, I have a little thing I do here where I'll dip out for about 60 seconds, just leave you with your lonesome, give you the full screen to just start the show by pouring into everybody. Let them know what's on your heart today, things I might have left out of my little brief bio, and then I'll come back in and we'll officially get started. Sound okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay,
that's awesome.
You take it away.
All right, thanks. Well, one of the things that I've learned the hard way, i.e. my experience or my ability to explain things well, comes from the fact that I had to learn stuff the hard way. The act of building a functional referral network did not come to me naturally. And I had to learn through example, through doing things right and getting good results, doing things wrong and getting poor results, by asking mentors and things like that. But what I'm intrigued by is the longer I study this and the more time I spend sharing what I know with other people, is the awareness that a lot of people are so close, but they need to make a subtle shift in the way they approach things, a subtle shift in their awareness of the facts and the data. And I think what's interesting is it's kind of like a plane on a runway. There's no such thing as being so close to a successful takeoff. You either take off or you don't. So even if you're doing 60, 70, 80% of the things right, you might not still be experiencing true, effective, consistent, repeatable results from the network building that you're doing. But it's that last 10, 20, 30% that really makes the difference and takes the results to 10x, 100x. And so I most of what I teach, people go, yeah. I go, no, let me get to the end of the sentence. And then they go, oh, there is a shift. right? And that's something that I've had to learn, that the subtle things are the ones that make the difference between mediocre or poor results and really good results. And so, that's kind of what I want to touch on some of those things today, right? As we go through this conversation, I'll bring forward a couple of things that most people get almost right, but you have to have a subtle awareness of, what the difference is and what works.
Man, so much was going through my ADHD, OCD head just now. I had to take some notes. I'm going to start with this one, though.
Sure.
First of all, Billy Bob Thornton-esque. Yeah, I hear that little Southern, just enough little, And, I want to move somewhere so I can pick that up. Where'd you get that? Where'd you pick up that little Southern? Just enough.
Oh, I grew up in South Carolina, and I'm accused of not sounding Southern enough. Yeah, I'm accused of not sounding Southern enough. Yeah.
Were you near Charleston? One of my favorite places.
Yeah, I'm about an hour and a half from Charleston. Spent last weekend there.
I said, he sounds.
I always tell people, if you want me to sound like a Southerner, I can talk that way if you want me to.
That's too much. That's too much. I only like that when I'm in the Paula Deen restaurant. It just
there you
adds
go.
to the experience. Right?
Or Coogan's Porch, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about, first of all, let's go to the referral network part, so people understand what that means from your side of the table.
Sure.
What exactly do you mean when you say referral network?
Great question, and it's worth defining the terms that we're talking about. Most people think they need more folks in their networking world, but they don't. They need fewer. They need more of the right people, but that's a smaller number, meaning you have to start from a bigger number to sort to the smaller number, but you don't need constant contact with hundreds of people. The reality is there's between 6 and 10 people that will carry the bulk of your business from now until you die, right? The length of your career can be predicated on the results of 6 to 10 key referral partners. And I'll make the reference to key referral partners and key referral sources. There's a subtle distinction that I make there. But there are a number of people in the world that, based on what they do for a living or where they're situated demographically, are in a better position to refer you than other people. Meaning not that the trust factors are higher or the willingness to refer. I'll just give a real simple example, an everyday Main Street example, right? I move through time and space. I meet people. I know my neighbors, I go to church. And if I know a realtor, and I know hundreds, but if there was a realtor that I wanted to refer, I may occasionally have a referral for them. But a mortgage lender is going to encounter a lot of people that need a referral to a real estate agent. A divorce attorney is going to encounter a lot of people that need a referral to a real estate agent. A movie company is going to encounter a lot. Not maybe a lot, but a lot more than I do, right? Not everyone in a movie company. Yeah.
Who do you know? I'm just saying, I'm doing a movie now. I'm doing my second one, so you can refer me. I'm giving you.
No. I said a moving company, but I can refer you to a movie producer. I know one of those as well.
Okay, good, because I was about to do this. Don't play with me.
A moving company, right? Right. And again, it's not that all of their clients need a realtor, but they encounter a higher number of people that need one, right? A funeral home director, a nursing home director, all encounter more people in a day that need an introduction to a real estate agent than I do.
Of course.
And right. And so the key is to find the people that are positioned to consistently refer you, and ideally those people that you're positioned to consistently refer, because that's the key referral partnership model.
Now, I want to say this. I want to butt in because I want y'all to get it right. I know a little bit about this because I was an event planner for 25 years, and I never advertised. Right. I never advertised, not once in 25 years. Why? Because I wanted to be exclusive, number one, and I wanted to set myself apart by people giving the testimonial. And so what I'm getting at here is I knew then people that were my ideal clients, they were the kind of people I would listen to them because I'd be at parties and there he goes. Ooh, I'm Glad it's not my fault this time. I'm still on the screen. I can see it. Okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold that thought. Should I remove him until he comes back? Oh, my. Do you guys remember back in the day before I got this high-tech system I have now, how that used to happen all the time with me because I had booty internet? Not anymore. Oh, Daniel Patrick Andrews, come back. Daniel Andrews Patrick, please pick up a white paging phone. Daniel Patrick Andrews, please pick up a white paging phone. While we're talking about white paging phones, ADHD, have you ever secretly wished that they would call your name just so you could hear it in the airport? But I don't think it's usually for anything good. It usually means you left something somewhere or you're on some kind of no-fly list. Okay, he went out. He's going to come back in, I'm sure. Why don't we do this? While we wait, let's take a break and... Oh, he's downstairs. He's back. Okay. Well...
Tech hit me. Okay, so I left off on, right, key referral partners. You were talking about the connections.
Oh, I wrote down where I left off. I'm used to it. It happens all the time with people. I'm like,
Pick it up for me, brother. Pick it up.
Right. So what I was saying is I used to listen to people when I was planning my attack, to start and launch my business. And I would hear people, especially women, which were my ideal client at the time, say, "Oh, you need to meet my hairdresser. Oh, wait till you see my lawn person. Oh, my pool guy, my travel agent." That's how they would do it. And, who do you have? Who cleans your house? You need my girl. Right. So I was like, I wanted people to say, you need to meet Lauren, my planner. And that's how it worked. And then I would take it a step further because they'd call and say, I need you to do my party. I was like, well, that's not going to work. Why? You don't have any... No, Lauren doesn't do parties. Parties are forgotten when the hangover's gone. Lauren does events that people talk about for decades. You want one of those? I can help you. But anyway, that set the stage for me to be able to take it a little further. So let's talk about that, about how you set yourself. What do you have to do so that people... Because I won't just talk about somebody because I know them. I got to really believe in what they do. That is correct.
Yes. People, you've got to, because you're not passing on names. The point of a network is not to meet more people. I mean, you and I don't have to remember the yellow pages and the business white pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are easy to find. Credibility is the key factor, right? That's why people are comfortable saying you need to use my pool guy, right? Because they have cred with that, right? That pool guy, that whoever has a degree of credibility with them. Okay, just because you've used somebody doesn't mean that you've had a good experience with them. I'd like to think most of the time we pick good vendors and our vendors like us, right?
Yes.
People we do business with. But that's one of the things that people miss. The goal is not to meet more people, because then you're stuck with the 3% of the population on average that needs what you got when you offer it to them. You want to build with some key players. You want to build trust and credibility. So when they pass you along, right, there's something to be said for that. And
they pass the story.
Right.
Their experience usually. And I'm gonna tell you something else, because everybody pay attention. Because if you own a home or you live in an apartment or a condo, wherever, most of us have some type of a neighborhood app on our phones. We do here in the suburbs of Chicago. All of us do. Because what's going on down on Ogden? Did you see all those police cars? Hey, there's a weird guy looking in mailboxes. That really was the other day that was on there. But a lot of the times I have found the guy who built our deck. That's how I found the people who clean our house. When my lawn company went out of business, the neighbors, I tried their first, but their people were full. So I went to the app and everyone was like, oh, I got a guy, or I know someone. So let's talk about that too. Word of mouth. And also tie this in. I'm gonna give you a two-parter so you can run with it. How important are reviews? Like if someone refers somebody to me, should I go and just believe what they're telling me? Or should I take what they're telling me and add it to what the reviews say, because I don't, I'm not on any of those review sites.
Right.
Because
Okay. No,
I'm very serious.
yeah.
I'm serious. When I speak on stages and they give them those sheets, like, you don't read them. Stuff, and I got a 4 once, I was in bed for 3 days.
That's right. Okay. Well, I'll give you 2 extremes there just to back you up. Brene Brown, the author, has never watched the TED Talk that made her famous. She delivered it, and she's never gone back to look at the video because she doesn't feel good about the way it's delivered. So I feel you. Now, the other end of the spectrum is my buddy Christopher Lochhead that's got a great podcast on branding and business building. Christopher Lochhead, if you want to look him up, Lochhead. And his entire podcast page consists of all the negative reviews he's ever gotten. That's all he puts on his podcast promotion page is all the 1-star reviews he's ever gotten, which I think is hysterical. So he's fine with it, right? He's not for everybody. Okay, so let's make I mean, I think social media can be helpful. I think, the neighborhood apps can be helpful, but let's make a pretty clear distinction, and that might lead into what you said about the reviews. Are those important as well? Okay. Here's one of the key factors. Number one, I do believe that someone that's had experience with a business, right, is probably well positioned to tell me if they like it or not, right? Meaning, if I realize I need new gutters for my house, and as I come home from the office, I see a truck driving through downtown that says ABC Gutter Company, I'm like, okay, fine, there's a gutter company, right? I might take a photo, so I've got the phone number. But as I pull home, right, and I come into my neighborhood, maybe I pass a gutter truck that's XYZ Gutter Company, right? And I will either call or go on the app or walk up to the door of my neighbor, who I may not even know that well, and go, hey, what's your experience with XYZ, right? I saw ABC downtown, but XYZ is here doing work for you. How do you feel about it? And their experience will carry some weight. The more weight is carried if I know the neighbor better and I know that we have similar standards for what good work is. I would think in the case of gutters, the variable in standards is pretty low. It either worked or it didn't. They either look good when they're hung up or they don't look good when they're hung up, right? They either cleaned up after themselves or they didn't. But I think we do tend to seek the advice, the guidance of people that we know or feel are like us when we're looking for that. I would say in general, apps, neighborhood apps, smartphone apps, social media has actually made it easier than even the yellow pages and the white pages have made it for people that aren't good at their work to act like they're good at their work. Right. And I'll try to tell the short version of this story, but I was gone from this city for 13 years. I moved back 8 years ago. Early on, when I got home, I was still single and I hadn't built my client base yet. So I'm at lunch. So what am I doing? What everybody else is eating lunch alone. I'm scrolling through Facebook. And one of our local Facebook groups, somebody said, can someone name a good roofer? And I wanted a roofer in my network. So I'm like, let's see who gets nominated. And as I scroll through a handful of names that have been put up there, somebody said, I recommend Billy Bob. And I'm not using his real name, and you'll see why in a minute. And I paused because I recognized this guy's name. 20 years ago, that guy used to work for me. And when he did, he was a pathological liar. Oh. Now, I believe in a lot of things. One of them is that God's grace is infinite, right? And number two, most of us aren't the same man at 38 that we were at 18, right? But I also don't know if Billy Bob has changed. I also don't know if the guy that recommended him actually believes in his work, is part of a leads group where they're just supposed to tag their friends, right, from the leads group. Or maybe, for all I know, it's his brother-in-law who Billy Bob owes him money, right? And he's trying to get Billy Bob a deal, trying to get right, so he can get paid, right? So I don't know what this person's motivations are. So the general sense of going on social media and asking who do you recommend totally obviates the fact that there could very well be secondary motives for somebody recommending somebody other than trust, which is why I believe that the trusting relationships make all the difference. And if it's a low stakes vendor, it's not a big deal, right? I tell people all the time, I went to get my hair cut. I had screwed up my work week. The only time to get my hair cut was Saturday or Sunday. Found a new shop, open 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So it's before church, time for me to get my hair cut, get home, get showered, get dressed, and get to church. I didn't even look at the reviews. It's a $28 haircut, right? What's the worst that's going to happen? My wife's going to make fun of me for 3 weeks while it grows out. I'm married to her. She's not going anywhere. She's not leaving me over a bad haircut, right? Right. Yeah, I know she's not, right? She's not leaving me over a bad haircut, right? So reviews were important in a $28 haircut, right? Getting a car fixed may be a little more important, right? Investing buying a home, your average B2B transaction requires a lot more trust. And so that's why it's important to build trust with people that are positioned to amplify your message to the most number of people. I'll give you another example. One of my clients is John Gates. He's a salary negotiation coach. He helps people get tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars more in annual compensation through his coaching modality. So clearly he's calling on people that are looking to move up or move on, right? They're looking for a new job or to get promoted. Amanda Valbert is another one of my ad hoc business partners. We've done several things together where we supported the same individuals. She's a resume writing coach.
Yeah.
Amanda is never going to hire John. She has her own business. She's not looking for work. John's never going to hire Amanda. He's not looking for work. He's got his own successful business. But most of John's prospects and clients should probably be introduced to Amanda, and most of Amanda's prospects and clients should probably be introduced to John, because they're serving the same sort of person at the same moment in time, right? So then the question becomes, if John can't endorse Amanda as a client perspective because he has no need to hire her, and Amanda can't endorse John from a client's perspective because she has no need to hire him, what does trust building look like between two people that could refer from a non-client perspective? And some people will tell you that the word of Amanda about John or the word of John about Amanda's skill set is irrelevant if they haven't been a customer. And that is absolutely not a true statement. Because what does it mean to create a good customer service experience? You know your industry, you do what you say you're going to do, right? You show up for your appointments, and you keep people up to date on what's happening. That's the summary of a good customer experience. Mm-hmm. From a referral partner's perspective, can't you also practice those same four elements? I understand and know my industry. I do what I say I'm going to do. I keep my appointments, and I keep the other person up to date on what's happening, in the introductions we've created. Mm-hmm. Meaning credibility doesn't have to come from a customer experience. Credibility can come from intentional trust building with other people.
Okay, I agree. So here we go. I want to know, because you've mentioned church several times. So that means that you have a belief system. Okay, great. And I do too. And it's why, let's put it this way. I think too, a lot of people miss the boat because of what they think the definition of successful is. They see outside things and they'll believe anybody. And a lot of people that move and circulate outside of integrity work together. Seriously, I'm going to give you an example. I have an event coming up in October here in Chicago. It's a 2-day event. I was the MC last year for the entire 2 days. This year, they got 2 people, because they believe in that pay to play, that are way out of integrity. They both stolen. I'm just saying, I ain't going to say their names, although I could, and I would sleep like a baby, because if you don't want people to know stuff, don't do it. And she said, and I'm serious. I said, listen, you have 2 choices. You either move those 2 people to a day, one of the 2 days that I am not a part of, because I won't even set foot on the property if they're there, or I can just step aside. It's your choice. It's your event. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I am not going to stand on a stage and let words come out of my mouth about somebody that I know for a fact it is not true. So let's talk about that, about how some people will sell their soul for a buck. My grandmother used to say all the time, not all money is good money. And a lot of people, they make concessions. And I believe too, Daniel, that when we break our covenants with ourselves, it's the worst promise we could ever break. Seriously. And so I want to know how you feel, and if you could speak to people, speak to us all, pour into us about standards, ethical boundaries, being integrity based, and how to keep your sacred circle sacred.
I think, what is it that, the girl said, that other girl didn't steal my man, she stole my problem, right? Right. Meaning if you live authentically, and you're entitled to have different standards, right? Meaning people can, draw a line, right? Like I will never accept a lobbyist as a client, because sooner or later I'm going to end up helping them advocate for something I don't believe in.
You don't believe in.
Right? right? I don't pick and choose which lobbyist. I just have a role. But I can also see somebody, right, that wants to support the ability for an American to have a voice, right? Even if I don't believe in what they say, right?
Sure.
That's fine. So I'm not going to tell people what standards they should have, but I would say the fastest way to determine who's in your circle is to be authentic and not inconsistent, right? If we behave consistently, then the people that are drawn to us. I had a conversation, again, trying to give the shortest version, low stakes environment. I was at a dinner with a bunch of people in a casual setting, was not going to go back to that city. I was there in support of someone else that had gone, and was talking about the fact that I've been self-employed my entire life. And somebody said, well, that's really brave. I said, no, it comes from the fact that I speak truth 100% of the time, and that's not corporate, right? You can't work for a corporation if you're not willing to lie and obfuscate and half-truths and all that stuff. You can't. And somebody said, yeah, more people, the guy across from me said, more people should live authentically. And I said, yeah, but a lot of people think that authentic and truth are important. And after a couple of months, they're like, that's an awful lot of truth, Dan. Like, I'm sorry, that's what I give, right? And I said, but I will tell you this. If you choose to live authentically, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of friends. And then I said, you're going to lose a lot of friends. You're going to lose a lot of people that were pretending to like who you were pretending to be. So you got to ask yourself, were those your friends? Now, if you do it long enough, right, then what will happen is you'll attract men, women, children, cats, and dogs, and those are your ride or die. Those are the people that belong with you because they are attracted to who you are authentically. And this is a great example, and the story is kind of neat in this context. There's a local gentleman, a little younger than you, has a PhD. He's a doctor. He's an African American, and he and I are part. We used to touch in certain circles, right? Hey, Dr. Thad. Hey, Daniel. Hey, Dr. Thad. Hey, Daniel. Okay. Yeah. And he'd had an experience. He'd been put on the board of a local arts organization for a DEI initiative, and he didn't have a good experience. And he was very public about the fact that it's they say they're it's all lip service, right? They're trying to brainwash this. And I said to him, I said, you know what? I like you. I know you a little bit, but I did not grow up as an African American in Columbia, South Carolina. Let me take you to lunch. I want to hear your story. And I let him focus on him and I bought lunch, right? The whole time. Okay. A couple months later, he found me at the event that we go to consistently. And he said, hey, Dan, I have something to tell you and I owe you an apology. And I said, okay. I said, as far as I'm aware, Dr. Thad, you don't owe me an apology. So I haven't been walking around with a grudge, but if you feel like you have something to share, I'm up for that.
Good here.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, fair enough. He said, I don't think you did think I had. He said, but here's what I have to say. Here's what I have to tell you, and then my apology. And he said, when I first met you, and I started chuckling. I'm like, I'm trying not to laugh at you. He goes, what? I said, I've heard this. I know how this ends. And he goes, really? I said, no, I'm not trying to cut you off. Go ahead and say it in your own words because you feel it's important for you to say it. And I said, but trust me, I've heard this before. And he goes, all right, I'll tell you. He said, when I first met you, I thought you were the biggest jerk in the world.
He said that about
you? He said that about me. And he said, but now that I've gotten to know you, you're one of the best people I know. And I want to apologize for prejudging you. And I said, Dr. Thad, you don't have to even apologize because everybody prejudges. Until you get to know somebody, all you have to work on is first impressions.
Well, now that you mention it, when I first met you, I'm just playing.
I said, Dr. Thad, you, so that I come across as humble as I actually am, I have plenty of stories that go the other way.
Right.
They liked me at first, and after several months of truth telling, they're like, I'm not sure I'm up for that. So he thought that was funny. But what's interesting, by the way, this is just a subtlety. When he said, when I got to know you, it made a difference. He didn't get to know me. I took him to lunch and I got to know him. And that's what made a difference. That I was authentically
because you were interested in him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That showed my character. Not meaning the fact that I wanted to know and understand him was enough of my character for him to know that I'm a good guy.
So let's pivot over to the scales of balance, if you will.
Sure.
Because a lot of people, so far what we've been talking about has a lot to do with the kind of networking where you run into the people at the grocery store or at Rotary or over the dinner table in restaurants. So close up, face to face. But the majority of my business is, in this town, I think I have 5 people who are in my coaching program. Whereas the other 170 that are in my coaching program are all over the world. Okay.
Sure.
So yes, some of them I met at events or things like that. But for the most part, most of us, we have never met. Okay. Most of them. Now, so here's where I want to go. And I'm working on trying to make a decision with this thing. So I'm really asking this for a selfish reason. Because I've never done it, because it seemed too impersonal. And I get tons of them that I don't open, I don't read. And I had a discovery call Monday with a woman about, and the first thing she said was, well, and she made sense with this. She goes, if Facebook shuts down or kicks you off or this and the other, all your stuff will be gone. So you really only have your email list. How do you feel about that? How much weight? You see what I mean? How do you balance the prioritizing of, is it more in person? Because I'm not one to I hate those emails that act like they know you. Hey, Lauren, right. Hey, buddy, you know what I mean? Did you see this, Lauren? Sure.
Okay, I think you've got to, I think a lot of it depends on your business model, meaning there are a certain number of businesses where marketing is the right approach, right? Meaning, right, if you've got a thing that's easy to understand, right?
Yeah.
Or you can serve a lot of people, right? If you're a realtor, you can send out enough mail pieces that somebody eventually would phone, right? If you have a group coaching program, 175 people in your program, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with marketing. Building a network, by the way, is not a subset of marketing. People try to tell me all the time. I said, yeah, networking is, but not building a network. The way you do it, it's a subset of marketing, and it has about as much value. As a matter of fact, it's the lowest return marketing if you're just out casually networking. But building a network, right? You have to decide what's important. Okay, let me give you an example. I met a guy several months ago, close to a year now, and his role is to sell lawn care for Drew Green Kim Lawn.
Okay.
At the corporate level, his entire call list is the Fortune 500. That's it. He's not allowed to call outside of the Fortune. His average ticket is $20,000 a month in lawn care. That's his average ticket. Do you think the size of his email list matters? Do you think staying in touch with the 495 of the 500 in the Fortune 500 that aren't his customer yet is important? No. They don't read emails. They don't care. They're not going to make a $250,000 annual contract based on his emails. Right. They're going to do it based on his ability to provide testimonials from customers and to get into the C-suite, into the decision-making space through an introduction.
Right.
It's not a question of being able to be convincing with your product. It's being able to get on the counter. I'll give you a quick, fast example. There's a guy that I've known for 20 years. When I was exiting a business, a company, a business, as he was coming on, he quickly exceeded my results. And therefore, he views me 20 years on as junior to him in terms of the professional value. He loves me as a brother in Christ. I'm not worried about that, right? Mm-hmm. I'll just use his first name. His name's John.
Shout out.
Mike started about the same time, and I mentored Mike. And Mike went on to a great career. He's still there. Mike and John live in the same town because they both turned into superstars. John a little more quickly than Mike. They've become close friends. They literally live next door to each other on purpose. They moved next door to each other on purpose because their wives are best friends and the kids all play together. Okay. It's been 5 years since I've had a conversation with Mike. I mentored him literally 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I pinged Mike and I said, Mike, I've got something for John, but it took him 4 days to give me a thumbs up on my last happy birthday message. So I don't think I'm a high priority with him. And I can respect that, right? John's gone on to other things and he hasn't kept up with what I'm doing, right? And I've moved into a position where I have value for John now, meaning I want to sell John something.
Right.
So I messaged Mike, I've got, I need your help. Can you call me? He calls me. First words out of his mouth. Nightmare line. Dan, thank you for the mentorship. Every time I give a talk and I'm recognized with an award, I mention that you had a lot to do with my success in the early stages right? John eventually mentored me some more, right? He said, but he said, I still remember that you took your time out as an experienced agent to coach a new guy and show me what's up. That's how he started. I haven't talked to him in 5 years, but the credibility was already built. And I said, Mike, that's great. I'm glad to hear that, because I need to borrow your credibility. I need to get on John's calendar. And it took him 4 days to reply to my happy birthday message. So I don't think he thinks I'm a high priority. And I said, this is what I have to offer him. You and I both know it would be very good for him, but I'm going to need you to get him on my calendar and tell John that he needs to get on my calendar. And he said, let me know when you're ready. Send me your calendar link. I'll forward it with an endorsement and tell him that he needs to get on your calendar.
Okay.
So even though it's somebody I know, I didn't have credibility with him. So I'm using the cred I have with Mike and the cred he has with John.
Right.
Right. So we don't meet people because they know people we don't know. We build credibility with people because they have credibility with people we don't know.
Got it. Let me ask you this.
So, yeah.
I got to ask you this because I saw it on your website, and I believe a lot of people may not even be aware of what these are. And I'm speaking to in there. I saw something that said, it asked the question, do you feel defeated by ineffective, outdated tactics? Could you shine a light on some of those ineffective or outdated tactics that people may not realize fall into that category currently?
Sure. Well, and the first thing I would say is, right, if you're operating inside a space of integrity, right, if it works, it's good. If it doesn't, it's bad. Meaning, I will occasionally get a cold DM in my LinkedIn inbox, and I will message back, how's that working out for you? I mean, not in a confrontational way, but I'm like, hey, I don't buy from anybody that approaches me that way, but I'm curious, how's that working out for you?
Yeah.
And some people go, great, I got a bot sending, 1,000 of these an hour, and 1 out of 100 replies, and I got business. I'm like, okay. So it's only outdated if it's no longer working for you. But I will say what doesn't work in the world of networking, right, is showing up in a room or in a space or encountering somebody and using what I call a speed prospecting model. Are you my client? Are you ever going to be my client? Will I ever want what you've got? Thank you for this short conversation. Can I have your card? Here's mine. Moving on. Right? Its close cousin, which is also a very short-sighted mentality, is what I call marketing by hand. Here's my card, Dr. Lauren. If you call me, if you ever need me. Better yet, here's 2 cards. And if you ever find somebody that needs me, have them call me. Okay? And you're like, I don't even know you well enough to refer you. Well, you've got to be kidding me, right? I call that marketing by hand because they'd have been better off to go into the parking lot and slide a business card under every windshield wiper and go on.
Yeah.
Right. That's people that put blocks of text in the digital networking, right? They're marketing one person or one group at a time. That's a very poor method because people don't respond to that because we're assaulted all day long with people trying to sell us stuff. The ads, right? They're customized to us, right? I need a button on my Facebook that says, I've already bought this, right? Right? You need to keep selling me this product because I already bought it, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to sell me something I already bought, right? So I don't need more of that in my world. So if it works, it's good. If it doesn't, it's bad. But if people are out networking and they're using a 1-degree model or a very shallow model, right? Are you going to buy my stuff? Who do you know that's going to buy my stuff? Without building credibility in order to earn the right to be referred, right? It's low stakes. And I asked a woman not long ago, and I said, what does networking mean to you, right? Because I want to figure out if I can help her, but I can figure out where she's at, right? This as a coach, right? Where are you at? Where you want to be? And can I help you fill the gap? Because maybe I'm not the right guy for her. I said, what does networking mean to you? She goes, well, I go to all the social events in my city and I get to know people and get to become their friends, right? And I show up over and over again and get to know them better and better. And then eventually I start talking about business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot imagine a worse approach because then it makes them question, why did you get to be my friend? Was the whole point business
I got something for that
was insincere?
No, yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I was sitting up here going, should I bring this up? Should I bring this up? And I'm going to bring this up. Now, some of you out there will probably know from the description of what I'm about to lay out there who this person is, and he's like a brother, but not still the left. Again, if you don't want people to know about it, don't do the shit. I'm just saying, and I know you're a Christian, so sorry about that. But here it is. Right. I have a good friend. He's like a brother, and we're both in television. He's an Emmy Award-winning person, I've gone on his television shows and reality shows. We used to have a show together. But I said to him the other day, you know, when he has a new project, he'll say, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And I'll set up all these appointments and stuff. And then he comes in, and if he doesn't get what he's looking for right then, all the stuff he promised inside this meeting with all the people, the follow-up, and I'll let you know, never happens. And then you don't hear from it. It's like my mom used to say, no one likes a person that only shows, every time they show up, their palm is facing the ceiling. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
And I said to him, I finally found the courage to say, look, bro, why does it's starting to feel like the only time I hear from you is when you need something. And this is a 7-8 year relationship, 7 or 8 years. And it took me a lot, Daniel, to actually speak it, but I felt like I needed to before I just blew up the relationship with some real horrible verbiage. So talk about that.
Sure. And number one, some people would say, good for you for letting it go that long. I would say no, because if he misunderstands the nature of the relationship and you don't clarify earlier, it doesn't work for me for you to show up with your hands out every time. Right now, Are there people in my world that I find myself in service to more often than they're in service to me? Yes, without getting into particulars. Right. But, what is it? I got friends in low places, right? Jesus hung out with the prostitutes and the sinners, right?
There you go.
So I've got friends that, and I'm thinking of one in particular, occasionally makes poor choices. I'm his go-to crutch, right? In the grand scheme of things, I've given more to this man than he'll probably be able to give to me. But I do know two things. Number one, he's actively working to give back to me in real time, right? He doesn't take it for granted. And number two, if it was reversed, he would. Right. So it's not a question of scorekeeping. It's a question of the relationship that we've already built, or in the case of this guy, the one that hasn't been built. I'm way quicker to tell people we're not at a point where every time you call me, you're either asking for money or you're asking me to introduce you to somebody that will give money to your nonprofit. Right. We're not there yet. And he took it to heart, at least with me. And he started calling, going, hey, I've got extra tickets to the basketball game. Right. You want them, blah, blah, blah. But even then it felt kind of transactional, because it took me, throwing an elbow on Steve before he got before the light bulb went on. Right. So I think, yes, there are people that either misunderstand the relationship or don't care, meaning they're going to market actively to everybody that, hey, I've got a program, I've got a course, I've got an event I want you to attend. I've got a product I want to sell you. I just came out with a book. Would you please sign up and buy it? And maybe they're just shooting blind because they assume they have that relationship with everybody, or maybe they're just working a numbers game. But the reality is it's okay to tell people we're not at a point where it's welcome and it's damaging to me for you to only engage with me when you're asking for something, right? You're better off taking me off the list and making an occasional ask than you are doing it constantly.
And the thing is, Daniel, it's not even how it makes me feel, but when I make connections with my sacred circle, they're busy people. They stop what they're doing because I don't abuse that. But then when you come in and now you could be robbing someone else of the opportunity that they're going to really do something with. And so,
yes.
And I also learned this too, like what you said when you went, like you said, it good for you for saying it, because the thing about it is we have to remember, all of us, when you don't say something, you are literally giving that person the license to continue. Because sometimes, well, why are you just now telling me? You didn't say that. Why didn't you say this 3 years ago?
And how often does this come up? And it's true. The same principles are true in business relationships. How often does it come up in personal relationships, right? Oh, I'm busy this week. I'm busy next week. And I'm busy next. And they're like, and the guy won't get the hint. I'm like, okay, now that we've determined he won't get the hint, now that you've done this 3 weekends in a row and he's still asking you on a date, it's now on you. Now, would it be nice if he understood the normal language patterns in American English and dating, the romance dance, right? And, I'm busy for the next 3 months means please don't call me again. That would be nice. But once you're clear that he doesn't understand, it's incumbent on you to say it's never going to happen, because he has the right to be angry later if you've said, I'm busy, because the subtext that he's hearing is, I will when I'm not busy. And when he finally figures out you're never going to go on a date, he has a right, or she, by the way, because it's not gendered, has the right to be angry about this, right? And I'm looking at the clock, so I know we can't roll forever.
Yeah,
But
no.
your unwillingness to speak truth to somebody. My mom divorced when I was in high school. She wanted me to come home from my dates early on the night she was dating. And I said, why? She said, because Bob is going to come to the door after the movie and he's going to ask if he can come in. And she goes, I got boundaries and standards. I don't want him in the living room or in the apartment, at 11 at night. I want to be able to say, oh, my son's home. And I said, I'm not doing it for two reasons. Number one, I get one day night a week. My curfew's midnight. That's when I'm coming in, right?
Right.
And number two, Mom, I said, I as a guy, I'm happy to be your protector. Bob's not going to attack you. I know that, right? But you need to own your own boundaries, because if your excuse that he can't come in is because I'm home, one weekend I'm going to be with Dad. My car's going to break down on the other side of town. I'm going to be at the lake with my buds. And he's going to say, well, I see your son's not home. And you're going to have to admit that you lied to him all those times. And then he's going to be mad. I said, you've got to own your boundary.
That's a beautiful.
I don't have gentlemen come into my apartment at 11 o'clock at night. That's
you
a
go.
perfectly fine boundary.
And I love that. So take that with you, everybody. Two Jerry Springer moments that stand out for me anyway. There are plenty others, but for me, the last one just came out, own your boundaries. And one was at the top of the hour, pretending to like who you were pretending to be.
Pretending to like who you were pretending to be. Yep.
People who pretend to like who you were pretending to be. Golden. Listen, everybody, if you want to continue the dialogue with Daniel Patrick Andrews on the screen currently, ticker taping along the bottom is the LinkedIn road. And then there's also the website. And there it is, DanielPatrickAndrews.com. We will take the liberty of dropping both of these links inside your private comment section so you can have it for easy use immediately upon conclusion of the show, which is right about now. Listen, Daniel, thank you so much. It has been very informative, very enlightening, and very exciting today. Great stuff. Really. Thank you so much. And any parting words before we leave?
Somebody wants to reach me, man, just find me, reach out. I'll even throw my phone number out there because I think it's way more personal. I won't put it in the text so people can't find it later. But people that are listening live stream, 803-361-6825. Just text me your name and say Dr. Lawrence live stream, and I'll know exactly where we're picking up the conversation. All righty. There you go. Listen, everybody, what you've gotten here today is what I hope you find every day, and that is another little piece of your higher self. Remember, you only need one E and one R. Get up every day. You're already great. You're already bright. You're already bold. Find that E and that R. And tonight when you go to sleep, you'll be bolder, stronger, nicer, kinder. Get out there today. And I'll tell you, as always, I love you. And there's not a darn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Have a great day. God bless you all. Bye. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you. Great job, man. Bye, everybody. Bye.